Hey, Friartown, it's PC. I just wanted to post about moving your kid in for the first time. I went through it last year with my daughter. She's my firstborn. My son, I moved into Providence last week. He's a freshman. Last year, first of all, let me just compliment Providence College on the move in process, both last year and this year. It was unbelievable. It was extremely well run by extremely kind and helpful students. And I wanted to give a shout out specifically to the ROTC guys. My dad, my dad was in ROTC when he was at Providence. He actually won the distinguished cadet saber, which it's been 60 years since he got that. So they were super helpful. They were everywhere. But getting back to moving your kid in and leaving them, right now I'm suffering from empty nest. And I'll be honest, it was easier this second time around with my son, and maybe it was because he's my son, and perhaps if he was the first I sent to college, and my daughter was the second, maybe I'd, be feeling a little more disturbed, and I'm not. And here's why. First of all, I went to Providence College. My dad went to Providence College. My whole family went to Providence College. So to say that I'm comfortable with the place would be an understatement. I'm extremely comfortable with Providence College. Now, I'm not an idiot, and I'm aware that things happen. Things happened when I was at Providence. If you're looking for trouble, I guess you could find it. And that's true just about anywhere. I never felt that my daughter was unsafe. I gave her the usual advice: travel in a crowd. Don't walk up Eaton Street towards the library to cross immediately right at the gate where the security guards are, and then walk up campus, on the well-lit road and paths that Providence has, Providence College has. Be situationally aware. Obviously, I've had the chat with both of them about drinking. I'm not a fan of it. I don't drink. If you lose your wits, your wits about you, anything can happen. I was a criminal defense lawyer for 27 years, now retired. I've seen a lot. I didn't feel that my kids were ever unsafe. My daughter last year, I never felt unsafe when I was at Providence. Back in the late 80s. I graduated in 90. So here's what I would say. First of all, I was a wreck for a week when I went to college. I've spoken to my son. I just talked to him, a few minutes ago. He's having a good time of it. It's a lot that he's absorbing. He's getting along with his roommates. He went to Eaton Street last night for the first time, just for half an hour, probably just to check it out. But it was his birthday. He just turned 18. They're gonna be fine. I felt isolated back in the late 80s because there were, it was like 40 cents to call home. And my dad was not a big fan of me doing it, so I didn't. So I kind of felt isolated. I had an older sister at Providence at the time. She was a sophomore when I was a freshman, but I didn't see her much. We didn't talk. It was tough for me for about a week. It's not the same like that now. I FaceTime my daughter. I FaceTime my son. I feel more present with them. I feel like I don't want to say sharing in their experience, but if you have a good relationship with your kid, which I do with both of mine, and I'm blessed to, both my wife and I do, it's not as bad as all that. If they're telling you, how bad it is, guess what? Everyone's going through the same thing. I did, and you just got to stick it out. I mean, I live an hour away. I would drive if they wanted me to. I'd hesitate because, Caroline stuck it out. She didn't come home her freshman year for quite a while. In fact, it was tough getting her to come home at all. That's actually just true. We'll see what happens with my son. But so far his experience has been good. They're going through a lot. Just stay in contact with them. That's all I can say. It gets better. After a week, it's going to be better. After the first week of their classes, once they take a breath next weekend, you know, I think it'll be a different experience for them, and they'll be just fine. Friartown is one heck of a family. I mean, they take care of their own. Um, if you're hurting in any way, there's plenty of ways to reach out to plenty of people. Um, you know, but great experience. This is, it's a heck of a time for these kids. And my daughter had a heck of a year, and she's going to have a great second year. And I hope my son does, and I'm sure your kids will too.